how crocheting helps with depression. Now in this video, I want to talk a little bit more about how you can use crocheting to help to ease your depression, to help to cope with your depression. And honestly, it can be used for anxiety or even everyday stresses, but I'm really focusing on depression right now because that is one of the major things that can happen and that do happen as a result of being in an abusive relationship. And if you're new to my channel, this is Monet's Voice. I'm Loy Renee, and I am here to teach you about how to use crocheting to help you heal from being in an abusive relationship, heal from domestic violence, or just to cope with everyday life if that's what you need it for. So I have 6 different tips here, 6 different items here that I'm going to go into as to why crocheting is so helpful as a form of therapy. Now, the first is that the repetition of crocheting, it's been shown to release serotonin in the brain, which is a natural antidepressant. So the more you crochet, the more serotonin is released in your body and the happier you feel. Serotonin is basically a feel-good chemical that is in your is released. It's like a hormone. It's similar to the feeling you get when you go running, not the aches and cramps, but that feeling in your that feeling that you get of release and relief, and you just start feeling better. It's also the same feeling that some might get when they smoke or when they drink. Some of those actions do release serotonin in the brain. It does make them feel happy. Or now, the repetition of crocheting, the more you do it, the better you will feel. And the more you crochet, the more you want to crochet, and the more you want to collect yarn and do all the yarny stuff. So that's one of the reasons why crocheting is so good for you as a form of therapy. It does help you to feel better. The second thing that I wanted to touch on is that crocheting reduces anxiety. It keeps your hands busy and it keeps your mind focused. If you're like me, where when you're trying to focus on one thing and your mind just wanders off into a million different directions. The third point I want to touch on, which is related to the second one of helping to reduce anxiety, it is also a good practice to include into your prayer routine or your meditation routine or whatever it is that you do to just connect and slow down. A good addition to that, I find it easier to listen and to focus when I'm crocheting, and my mind wanders less. So because crocheting puts you in a meditative state, it really helps you to relax and to just calm down and focus on what you are doing or what you are thinking of. What happens is that you get one part of the brain focused on crocheting so that you can focus on learning something new or your prayer or your meditation. You don't really have to think about it. Of course, it depends on what you are crocheting. For example, I was taking part in a course a few nights ago where the task was to sit quietly and focus on what's going through our minds, what's happening in our bodies, how we're feeling, just to connect with ourselves. And I could not for the life of me focus on anything. My mind was all over the place and I started to get really frustrated because I couldn't focus. And everyone else in the class was there seeming so relaxed and I was just so agitated. So what I did was I grabbed a blanket that I'm working on, a crochet blanket, and it's very repetitive. I've been working on that blanket for a couple weeks now, so I've built up quite a muscle memory to the stitches. I can work on it with my eyes closed. So it was easy for me to just grab that blanket, start crocheting, close my eyes, and while my hands get into the groove of crocheting, I was able to focus on what it was, the instructions that the instructor had given us. I was able to really focus on how I was feeling, on what I was thinking. Because my hands were busy, crocheting, it grounded me. I was able to really focus, and my mind didn't wander while I was crocheting, and that had actually surprised me. I've never tried that before. It really worked. It really helped, and I think if that's part of your prayer routine, and I think I'm gonna be making it part of my prayer routine as well, because I'm one of those people who will start to pray and my mind just gets all over the place, and then 5 minutes later I was like, oh, I was praying. Yeah, I was doing that. So I'm going to try and make it part of my prayer routine as well, because that's one of the areas that I really want, I need to focus on right now. And I think you can try it too. Let me know in the comments if you do have crocheting as a part of your prayer or meditation routine. Let me know how that works for you. Experience that I had with it was eye-opening. It was amazing, and I'm going to be doing more of that. The next point that I wanted to make on how crocheting helps with depression is that crocheting helps you to switch off your problems and gently work through whatever it is you're solving, kind of like looking at it with a side eye. When you're depressed, you can get really overwhelmed by what you're feeling. All the emotions seem to kind of double up and get get a lot more intense, and it can be really hard to work through even small issues that you're having, day-to-day problems that someone who is not depressed could easily work through. But when you're depressed, it gets harder to deal with those problems. One way that you can use crocheting to maneuver through that is similar to what I just said in my last point. But instead of using crocheting while you're learning, so you can focus more on your learning, you're crocheting while you tackle this problem. So you're not tackling it head on, face on, and getting overwhelmed by it. You're crocheting and dealing with the problem indirectly, which is easier. It's not as intense, but at the same time, you're still working through that issue. You ever notice when you're showering how you get the best ideas? That's because you're not focused on coming up with that idea or solving a problem. So this is kind of similar. You're not being so focused on solving that problem and just honed in directly on that point. So it's easier for you to come up with a solution to the problem because you're in a more relaxed state. Okay, so another way that crocheting can help you is that it helps with your self-esteem. Now, once you've completed a crochet project, you feel you feel so proud of yourself. It gives your self-esteem a boost. So that really is a big contributor. Now, if you know anything about depression, or if you've been depressed or are depressed, once you are in that state of mind, your self-esteem pretty much goes through the window. So this is one way to help to kind of boost your self-esteem and help you to feel better about yourself. Now, I'm not saying that once you're depressed, you're always going to feel like crap. People who are affected by depression do have moments of light and joy within their days, but depression is that prolonged sadness. So when you are in this state, you're going to start feeling like you're not good enough, like you're not worthy of anything. And crocheting, when you complete a project, you get that boost. And if you do it often enough, then that boost will remain longer. It's like building a Lego tower. Each block contributes to making that tower bigger and taller. It's the same way with crochet. The more you crochet, the more your self-esteem will continue to go up. And you know, it's a plus if you're not only making something for yourself, but if you're making something for someone as a gift. Because that will really make you feel better. If you're doing something for someone, that will help you to feel better. And that's what happened to me. I started crocheting because I wanted to make my daughter a hat. I wanted to make her a beanie. Now, I didn't think that crocheting for her would make me feel any better because of my depression. I just wanted to do something for her because at the time I felt as if I was not being a good mom. I wanted to be able to give things to her that I could not have access to. And so I turned to one of The things that I usually turn to: crafting, doing something with my hands, DIY, and this is what it has turned into. The final point that I have is that crocheting helps with your insomnia. Crocheting helps with your insomnia. One side effect of depression is that you either don't get enough sleep or you get way too much sleep. Now, how crocheting can help with this is that it helps your mind and your body to relax. It puts you in a very relaxive state and helps you to really calm down and slow down so you can fall asleep easier and sometimes even sleep better. Now, what I do is if I've had a long day or if I'm having trouble falling asleep, I'll put in a podcast or just play some music. I'll sit in bed and I'll crochet until I'm ready to fall asleep. And I usually fall asleep pretty quickly when I do that because I've slowed down my body. I'm focusing on crocheting and I'm crocheting slowly. So it naturally slows me down. My hands are moving slower, so my thoughts, everything is just starting to relax because I'm not I'm not rushing through anything. I'm just focusing on crocheting slowly and relaxing. And when I don't do that, like sometimes what happens is that I'll be in bed, I'll lay in bed, and I'm thinking about everything that went wrong in the day, everything that I needed to do that day that didn't get done. I'm thinking of everything that I need to do tomorrow, everything that might go wrong tomorrow. And I, when I eventually fall asleep, I don't sleep well. I don't get a good night's sleep. So when I wake up in the morning, I am tired, I am miserable, I'm cranky, and just not a good person to be around. So it's important for me that I get good rest. I need to rest well. So one way that I try to achieve that is by crocheting before I fall asleep to help me relax, to help me to slow down and have a good night's sleep. So that's it for right now. I'm pretty sure there are a lot more reasons or ways that crocheting can help with your depression or your anxiety or your daily stresses. But that is it for this video. Now, if you have anything else that you'd like to add, any more ways that crocheting can help you with any of those things, feel free to go ahead and leave those in the comment section below. I read all my comments, I try to respond, and I do respond to every single one of them here and on my Instagram and Facebook. So go ahead and leave those on any of those platforms for me. I will definitely see it and I'll definitely respond to you. And thank you so much for sticking with me through this video and for subscribing to my channel. Please remember to click the notification bell so you'll know when new videos are live. If you know someone who is affected by depression, please go ahead and share this video with them. I do hope that you or they find it useful. And if you want to show your support by purchasing a finished piece from me, my link to my Etsy shop is in the description below. If you don't want to or you're on Etsy, you can go ahead and send me a message on Instagram. We can connect there as well. But thank you, thank you, thank you for staying with me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!